Trying this again. Good day, folks, and welcome to another edition of Lumberjack Logic. I'm your host, Neil Johnson. So excited to be with you. So excited to share the news with you. I am so sorry about that last stream. I tried to start one, and for whatever reason, it wasn't starting, and I think it was because I was connected to some bad Wi-Fi, but I am now connected to the cellular network. This should work. Please smash that like if you would. Do chat in with where you're from. Good to see you all on. Again, apologize about the stream, but we have some big news on January 6th. Mike Johnson really delivered on this one. So I'm really excited about that. I've also got some news from Julie Kelly on the Mar-a-Lago documents situation down there in Florida. That case, hey Josh, good to see you on. We're going to talk briefly about Fani Willis and then just a couple other quick stories. But the big one here, people, I call this the dam is breaking because January 6th, the entire narrative of January 6th is continually being destroyed. We've now found that they withheld evidence about the, taking over the steering wheel of the beast. We found that they deleted half the files on the hard drive. Those encrypted files were recovered, but they have not broken through the passwords, and the Democrats won't give it to them. And then we found out that Benny Thompson really wasn't leading the committee because he was actually deferring that out to Liz Cheney. But this is a big story on January 6th because Mike Johnson and the House Oversight Committee just released people 4,000 hours of J6 footage. Now, you have to ask the question at this point, if they just released 4,000 hours of January 6th footage that nobody was able to see before, should that affect the court cases of the January 6ers? Yes or no for those of you in the chat, but 4,000 additional hours. Now, they did not blur out the faces. So there was this whole thing, if you guys remember, about blurring out the faces of the people in the video. And then they just decided it was too logistically difficult because they were concerned that, they would incriminate people or whatever. No, just release the footage. Let's get it out there. Let's see it all, okay? So this is a big, big win for the J6ers. And I really want to give a big shout out to Mike Johnson and Representative Loudermilk for continuing to pursue this and bring the truth to light. I know we get frustrated with some of the things Mike Johnson has done, but at the end of the day, we are working towards the election of Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is going to need a Republican House, Republican Senate to work with. Do me a quick favor, a bunch of you just jumped on. Please smash that like if you would. J6 was a huge setup. I saw that comment. It was a huge setup. So the other thing, I do need to mention my sponsor. I'll get into this next story, which is really good too. But Midas Gold, MidasGoldGroup.com, or text Lumberjack to 232-425. You can receive free silver with a qualifying order if you mention me or text Lumberjack. You can also call them at 480-360-3000. They are veteran owners, not commissioned salespeople. That's where I get my gold and silver, folks. It's good stuff. All right. There's a big thing happening. There's a big financial news story. Maybe I'll cover that on a different date. But I'm going to go on to the Julie Kelly story. New from Florida courthouse in Trump's classified documents case with a prediction. So Julie Kelly, very sharp. She's got a prediction on this. Robert Hur report and testimony is the biggest elephant in the room. The term arbitrary enforcement used frequently by both the defense and Judge Eileen Cannon. Cannon hammered the fact that no former president or vice president has been charged under the Espionage Act for taking and keeping classified records, including national defense information, which represents 32 counts against Trump in Jack Smith's indictment. Now, we know this is bogus, okay? We know that the Clintons had their private email server and all of this. I mean, this is the bridge too far. And so Matt Gaetz said in the House the other day, he doesn't think either Biden or Trump should be charged. It's easier to make a case for Joe Biden, who was not even president, who could not declassify, and yet they're going after Trump. So you guys all know this. But here's Julie Kelly's prediction on this. Cannon won't dismiss the case based on the motions debated today. Vagueness of the Espionage Act and protection under the Presidential Records Act. But it's very likely she will dismiss the case based on selective prosecution, a motion still pending before her. Can you imagine the liberal tears, the absolute epic freaking scream fest if Judge Eileen Cannon dismisses Jack Smith's case based on selective prosecution? This is huge, people. So Robert Hur's testimony, if it did nothing else, because we were all a little disappointed with that. I was live streaming it. I'm like, oh, darn, this is lame. If it did nothing else, we may get this. Without saying so directly, what Judge Cannon suggests is that any former president or vice president who took unauthorized records and failed to return them to the proper authority committed a crime the day he left office. Also important to note that Judge Cannon, who is pretty measured in comparison to most judges, made these points in a rather heated fashion. She is very aware of the double standard at play in the non-prosecution of Joe Biden. So she disagrees with Matt Gaetz. She's saying, look, if you have this situation taking place, they committed a crime the day they were out of office, either a president or vice president. Now, that's really interesting. I mean, I can actually see that happening after listening to a lot of what Judge Eileen Cannon has had to say. So here we go. Now, you guys have heard about this, right? Have you guys all heard that Fani Willis was threatened by contempt, with contempt charges from the House Republicans today? The House Judiciary Committee warned Fulton County District Attorney that they would consider that she has not produced material, and the committee has requested all of these things related to her use of office funds. So I covered this story before, but just in case, just to give you kind of the quick on this, she misappropriated Department of Justice grant funds, okay? And they were all excited about buying new computers and all this other crap, and that wasn't what it was actually meant for. So they misused the funds, and that's what this specific instance is about. I mean, Fani Willis has got so much dirt on her. And you know, I don't know if it is just, I think it's a combination of both, but I honestly think she's almost at this point, when you look at everything she says when she's on the witness stand, I think she's more inept and, what's the word I'm looking for? Inept, unable, you know, she's corrupt. I mean, I get that, right? The things she's done are corruption, but she's really just incapable of doing the job. It's a malfeasance, not malfeasance. What is it? She's like blundering along. She's just not that bright. She's not that bright. Willis, who is leading the prosecution against former President Donald Trump in Georgia, has provided some of the documents, but not all of them, Jim Jordan wrote in a letter to Willis obtained by the Washington Examiner. Jordan subpoenaed Willis for the documents last month, and then you remember the U.S. Marshals had to deliver it because she wouldn't receive it over email. We appreciate that you have produced a narrow set of documents in response to the subpoena, but your compliance with the subpoena to date is deficient, Jordan wrote, adding that his committee would consider taking further action, such as the invocation of contempt of congressional proceedings, should she not fully comply with his request. House Republicans have been probing Willis about her use of federal funds since last year. This was a $488,000 grant, and then the whistleblower told them that these were misappropriated, not used for the correct things. So dunce, there's a good word for Fani Willis. Yes, thank you. Sometimes you sit here and you go, you're trying to come up with the word to describe these people. I do this on thumbnails all the time. You know, you try to make your thumbnail right. I did one today on Don Lemon and Elon Musk, because I don't know if you guys know, but Elon Musk fired Don Lemon from the show on X that they had sanctioned Don Lemon to. And Don Lemon's on a literal, not an apology tour like Barack Obama when he went around the world, but he is on a crying tour. It's just hilarious. A couple other things really quickly I just want to cover. I've got the Schumer. Did you guys see that Schumer is calling on Israel to have a new election? See, they are getting beat up from the far left so bad over this Palestinian issue. And now Chuck Schumer is telling Israel they need to have a new election. So we're going to tell a sovereign nation, you need to have a new election. What a bunch of freaking idiots. Like, why don't we just let those nations do their thing? And why don't we actually just run an election over here? Huh? Can we just run a free and fair election over here instead of worrying about Israel's elections when they actually elected Netanyahu, and now that he's doing the job they want him to, but it's harming the left here at home, they're all upset about it? I have no sympathy for anybody who commits terrorist acts, people. I don't. I have none. Zero, zippo, nada, okay? Hamas, they can all go crawl into their caves and get bombed for all I care. And I'm not even, I don't say that lightly, but these people are pathetic, okay? So now we're gonna go after Israel because they're doing their thing. That's their business, okay? Exactly, Schumer can go pound sand. Okay, now, this is so great. I love doing these lives from the health club. I go take over. I'm actually setting the phone on the tanning bed, but I just got this story on. So if you just jumped on the stream, 4,000 more hours of J6 video was just released by the House Oversight Committee. So thank Speaker Johnson and Representative Loudermilk for that. Okay. Then let's see, the other thing is this TikTok. This has been the big news today that I see circulating all around Twitter. By the way, if you want more information, Jake Lang, one of the J6ers, who I follow on X, I just reposted this about the 4,000 hours. And then there's a J6 community you could join and everything, but you just write down below in the description, is my handle for Twitter or X. So go follow me over there as well. Or it's just at Neil, N-E-I-L-E, Johnson, J-O-H-N-S-O-N. But the whole thing blowing up on TikTok right now, okay, here's my thoughts on TikTok. It's a garbage platform. It is, it's Chinese and I don't trust it. But when you see Dan Crenshaw, Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, Chuck Schumer, and all these hacks lining up behind a bill that we need to urgently sign, do you guys trust the bill? Yes or no? Do you think we should just be jumping on board? Okay? Should we just be jumping on board the whole thing to ban TikTok? I don't trust these people. I mean, look, here's the deal. As soon as the media and the uniparty hacks jump on board of something and tell you, this has got to be done right now, I just start having questions. I'm just telling you. I mean, I don't believe TikTok is doing good things for America or American youth. It shortens their attention span. I mean, it's all just quick hit videos. I think to actually get into stories, a lot of times you need to watch something a little bit longer so you can understand some of the nuances there. But I compare this to George Santos, okay? Here's what I mean by that. I don't trust George Santos, okay? Everybody like, we got all these George Santos defenders. No, I just wanted George Santos to stay in his seat because he voted conservative 98% of the time. I don't think that George Santos is somebody I would want to have babysitting my kids. Do you? Do you think that about George Santos? I wouldn't want him. I see Agent Orange. Is Catfish Chucky actually... Wait, Chucky... Is he actually Chucky Schumer? We need to know. I do not think Catfish Chucky is Chucky Schumer. But when you looked at the bill, it appeared, just like the Patriot Act, and a lot of people made this comparison on X, and I have to agree with it, is that that bill could actually have much further reaching consequences than just TikTok. And so, although I don't trust George Santos, I still wanted him to maintain his seat. And I don't want to give Mark Zuckerberg and YouTube more power. So the fact that they have to compete with these other apps is actually a good thing because it forces their hands so that they then have to allow some of the content they don't like on just so they can develop advertising revenue because you guys are a great audience. So you're the right demographic. You're that 45 to 65-year-old crowd that actually has disposable income that every advertiser wants to advertise to. And so they can continue to push you off their platform to Rumble, but in the end, that actually has financial pain for them. So I just want to mention that. But and the other thing is Biden loses the youth vote over this. So if Joe Biden is lining up with Dan Crenshaw and Nancy Pelosi, he is, again, further losing the youth vote that he has already lost. I've got a tremendous story, people. that I'm going to release later today. So make sure you're paying attention, turn those notifications on, because it is, I'm calling it. It's officially over for Joe Biden. And when you see this story that I do later today, you will understand why. Again, please check out my sponsor, Midas Gold Group, MidasGoldGroup.com, or call them at 480-360-3000. Get yourself some gold, some silver, real money, real tangible physical assets that you can have in times of peril. There's a situation right now in the Shanghai. My understanding, I was talking with a friend today, and gold over there is selling for like $150 more per ounce. Or was it less per ounce? Let me think. It was $150. There's some sort of contagion going on with gold and silver, right? So silver was, I want to say $3 less per ounce and $150 less per ounce on gold. So, you know, it's more, actually it was more on those. And they're not eager to necessarily inflate those prices because they want to, China's been buying up gold like mad. So, I mean, I'm just telling you, it's what I do. You don't have to do it, but I want to have some of my money in real physical, tangible assets. I don't trust Bitcoin. I don't trust digital currencies. I just don't. I know right now it's all the rage. Maybe it'll work out. I don't know. But keep fighting the good fight. Hold the line, keep the faith. And I'll see you on the next episode. Thanks so much for that super chat, Agent Orange. And we'll see you on the next one, all right? Peace out.